Hi, I'm Chris from Rewilding Us. We've just entered the beginning of May and I've been out foraging this morning, like I am most mornings, and I've come across a really tasty fungi that I wanted to do a brief identification on. So we're just at the start of spring now and we're getting some nice flushes of Dryad saddle, and this is a popular fungi amongst foragers for numerous reasons. One of the main reasons is that it's a really good beginner fungi. It's very easy to identify and almost unmistakable. And then another reason is because of its size, which also helps with its identification. But because of its size, you're going to get a really good meal out of this fungi. And Dryad saddle is the largest capped fungi in the UK. I've found specimens that have grown to almost close to a metre in width. We've got some nice young fresh specimens down here which are perfect for harvesting. So in terms of its identification, it's known as pheasant's back because when it does develop, it gets scales on its back, it gets larger and it looks like the back of a pheasant. And the scales and the sheer size of the mushroom make it quite an easy identification. It's beige in colour, and the habitat you will find it in, you're going to find it growing on dead wood, so dead, dying, decaying, and sometimes on living trees as well, but generally on dead wood you're going to find it. Pheasant's back, it's in the polypore family, which is a safe family for foragers to be foraging for, because the edible species, the edible members of that grouping, there's no poisonous kind of edible members of that grouping. Fungi you are going to be able to harvest and eat. Most of them are too hard, they're too woody, too dense, which deems them inedible. And Dryad saddle is one that does turn with age and becomes too dense and too hard to eat as well. But when you have nice young fresh specimens like you do here, these are in perfect condition to harvest and eat. Often you'll find that the fungi, depending on the stage you find it, you'll find that you might just be able to eat the cap or part of the cap. When they're young like this, often you can eat the whole fungi, the stem and the cap as well. So they're packed full of antioxidants and they taste and smell a little bit like watermelon. So they have quite a fragrant, I call it mild mushroom flavour, and with like hints of exotic fruits basically. A little bit like watermelon. They smell very fresh, they're very vibrant, which is what I like about some of these fresh spring fungi. And in terms of using it for food, I just generally enjoy Dryad saddle. I enjoy it on toast, or I might put it and include it in pasta dishes. I'm sure you're going to find some recipes when you come across these that you're going to want to include them in. They are very common. I find them really regularly. And I find them on dead deciduous trees, dying deciduous trees, just out on walks sporadically. So if you do come across these and you find them and they're a bit more mature, how you would tell if they're at their edibility stage is you just want to slip your knife into it if you have a knife with you. If your knife slides into it nice and freely, a little bit like butter, then it's going to be fresh and good to eat and good to put on your plate. If it is too tough, it doesn't mean that it doesn't have its uses. I often will take some and go home and make teas out of them because they are packed full of antioxidants and many other goodies as well. So this was just a brief video on Dryad saddle, and I'm sure you'll be seeing some of these throughout your foraging season this spring and summer as well.